All right, everybody, we are just a few short weeks away from the release of Rogue One, so we are very fortunate to be joined today by its director, Gareth Edwards.
Thanks for having me.
What's it been like for you, being on site?
It's a real privilege to be here. You feel like you're on sacred ground, and just to walk down the corridors and see the pioneering work that like ILM did in cinema, like, you know, you got Jurassic Park, Terminator 2.
What added elements have come to the process by working here at Skywalker Ranch?
Well, obviously, like John Knoll is our visual effects supervisor on Rogue One. He was a massive hero of mine. Like, my background was visual effects, and I sat for about 10 years in my bedroom trying to do computer graphics. And I'd put on the making of Star Wars to kind of keep me motivated. And you'd hear John Knoll kind of talking to George and things like this. And then sometimes accidentally end up in situations where I hear that voice and I go, oh my God, that's like the making of Star Wars documentary that I've watched to death. And then realize I'm the other guy now talking about what a ship should look like or what a shot should be.
Now you're going to be in it.
There has been cameras hanging around. Is that what it's all about?
Possibly.
Okay.
This is going to be the first Star Wars movie that you won't get to see as just a fan.
It is the curse of filmmaking, I think.
How is that going to change that experience for you?
You never get to watch your film the way the audience watches it. With the original trilogy, George went back and did like a special edition. You think, why? You know, it was perfect. Right. And then as a filmmaker, he felt like, no, there was these things I didn't quite get right and I want to do them. And as a filmmaker, you always feel that way, or I do at least, about the work I've done, is where you always see little things you want to keep tinkering with.
Are there any like fun stories or behind the scenes tidbits that you haven't been able to tell anyone yet that, you know, us being Star Wars show, you're willing to divulge?
There's some Easter eggs in Saw's cave. There's some cave paintings. One of them is of the creatures that were in my first film called Monsters. Okay. And I think there's some Mutos and Godzilla.
Perfect.
Painted somewhere on there. I didn't ask for it. It's just they did it as a joke. And then I just came in one day and spotted it. It was like during the middle of a take.
What's the toughest day on set?
I mean, the most difficult thing about filming is it's just relentless. Normally you have to get in the car by about 5 a.m. and you want to get home till midnight. You do that every day for like 5 months. It's kind of a marathon, and you have to kind of remind yourself of that and not exhaust yourself too early, because you've got to get through the whole shoot. I think the toughest shooting day, there was different ones. There's on a planet called Edu, there was a lot of rain, and there's something psychological that you forget. I mean, rain looks really good on camera, but you forget how tiring it is for the crew and the actors to be drenched all day long. And we all bought these really expensive suits that kept you 100% dry, but as soon as there's one little crack in it, because you've got 10 hours of rain, it just finds its way down, and then eventually you're covered like you swam in a lake. What would happen is sometimes I'd end up holding the camera, and you know, we wanted to keep it very flexible for the actors, and so you could quickly go over here if they were doing this, or something interesting happened, you could go to the other person. And the actual lenses we had were the original lenses they shot Ben-Hur on, the original Ben-Hur.
Wow.
And so these like beautiful anamorphic, very like organic feel, because we didn't want it to feel digital. As a result, you get like this beautiful depth of field where everything's out of focus, but it's a nightmare for the focus puller. And so you have to try and warn him like what you're going to do. But there's these intimate scenes going on inside the ship, so you can't talk. They put a microphone next to my mouth and then this duct tape somewhere, so I could just whisper like close and then like far, close, far, like just kind of to give, but I have to really whisper it. And I didn't realise what it looked like, but the AD kept cracking up.
That's going to be on the behind the scenes documentary, you know it.
I used to think like stylistically, if you were going to do a film that was sort of like embedded and handheld and gritty, and if you were going to do a different sort of more classical style of directing, then, you know, you'd maybe do that for the whole film. And in Rogue One, we ended up just mixing and matching styles. Sometimes you go from like very grounded, like in the trenches photography of a battle, to suddenly like these epic, beautiful shots. And that contrast really worked well. I think to some extent, if a year and a half ago we'd sat there and gone, okay, let's storyboard the whole movie, this is exactly what we're going to do, let's go get that, I don't think it would have been as good a film as what did happen, which was, this is the foundation and the plan, but whenever we get a better idea from experience, we'll change it and we'll keep trying, keep doing stuff. And I think that's paid off, to be able to leave your ego at the door and just let the film speak to you and tell you what it wants to be.
Well, I can't wait to see it. December 16th cannot come soon enough, seriously. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. And you guys stick around. Star Wars Show will be right back.